Welcome to Year Endless. I am your host, William Ginsberg, joined by my co host, Courtney Chappell. On Year Endless, we delve into musical and personal history by diving into best of lists from print and online publications through the years.
On today's episode is the 10th and final part of our look at Blender Magazine's 100 greatest indie rock albums of all time. We are planning to do a conclusion episode where we give our thoughts on the list as a whole, but we're also looking at people responses near to the time it was released and more.
Which I'm really looking forward to.
I'm excited for that as well. But today we start number 10, the album The Smiths by The Smiths from 1984 on Rough Trade. So, love The Smiths.
Yes, huge fan. I think I agree with this list choice. Smiths is the self-titled is sure that's their greatest album.
I prefer The Queen is Dead. It fits with their pattern, with some of the patterns that I've noticed, as far as it being a debut, a breakthrough.
Totally. Yeah, the list.
It does have some of their best songs. This Charming Man's amazing.
I know, that's the thing. Is I would go back and forth when I was young, and this would be my favorite one. Queen is Dead would be my favorite.
Some put forward some of the singles compilations as being the best.
Yes.
So there's a lot of options to choose from. For such a short discography, there's a lot of options to choose.
Yep.
They weren't a band for that long, were they?
No, they really weren't. It's so interesting listening to interviews with Johnny Marr. He's so tasteful and kind of the opposite of Morrissey in that there's just so little drama. He's like, it was just time to end, run our course. In reality, I think their relationship was a lot more contentious. Johnny Marr, and one of the greatest guitar players of our time.
Yes, very revolutionary, very influential.
Now, Johnny Marr's guitar playing is often like, you can draw connections, at least my husband, who's a guitar player, draws connections between him and these sort of British folk traditions, Burt Yountz and others. And that if you listen to Johnny Marr talk, he doesn't really take a very pompous intellectual stance about his playing. I think he's kind of just a genius, that this isn't hard to him. This is just how he thinks about the instrument. He grew up in a really musical family, and he just grew up. Everyone in his family played some kind of instrument. They would all sing and play music together.
A couple months ago, I watched this really cheap documentary about the Smiths. It reignited me wanting to watch more music documentaries that are, better, more accomplished ones. But it was still, as a look through their discography, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've been debating whether to mention this, but I remember the first time I heard a Smith song, or it's like a consciously heard one, and it wasn't one of their more famous ones. It was Frankly Mr. Shankly from The Queen is Dead.
Yes.
But I heard it in a car while heading with a group to go skinny dipping.
Yes.
While at New College.
I knew I was going to say Florida.
Yeah, the second time going with that, because the first time it was in the Sarasota Bay. This was I can't remember which beach it was. One of the beaches. I remember they played that song. That whoever was the guy who was driving.
Yeah, what did you think?
I mean, I liked it pretty much immediately. I was like, oh, "This is so cool." I mean, it's also a shorter song, and it's like pretty. It's one like an up tempo song too. And those are things I appreciate. And yeah, I was like, "This is kind of." It must have been someone else giving me the MP3s for the album, but and then also I got one of the singles collections. There's like 4 albums plus and then a couple singles collections.
And then the singles collections, yep.
I mean, Morrissey had a pretty successful solo career, at least there for a while.
It did, yeah. It was successful. I mean, really successful. We all bought the first 2 albums. Looking back at them, lyrically, there's some issues. We can just acknowledge that there's some real sort of right-wing and perhaps fascist tendencies in his work that personally don't really listen to him anymore. This has been talked about extensively, and we're not avoiding the topic, but they were solid albums. And he took on this other guitar player who's featured in 24 Hour Party People. He was on the label Factory Records, but he was just never really, he was not in the movie 24 Hour Party People. He's like this kind of afterthought. And as a guitarist, he never really, even though he's really great, he uses this strange kind of delay on his guitar. He's not Johnny Marr.
Yes.
He is a solid player. And I can't even remember his name right now. I have to look it up. He's on Viva Hate.
Is it Vinnie Riley?
Thank you. From DeRudy column, Vinnie Riley. Thank you. You got it.
I was looking it up myself. So
okay, cool. I was like,
there were some things I do remember off the top of my head, but that's not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know why I can never remember his name.
I'll read the blurb. Wusses of the world unite. Guess what, boys? It is okay to be miserable. That's the lesson to be drawn from this debut, wherein guitarist Johnny Marr jangles merrily and Morrissey swoons like a heartbroken lady in waiting whose corset is too tight. It set the lilac-scented stage for years of sexless yearning that would follow. I don't know how I feel about certain parts of that, but I mean, overall, there's a certain joy to being miserable sometimes. I would say that. One thing they mentioned about this album in that the documentary that stuck with me was the talk about the closing track. Suffer Little Children.
Oh, yeah.
Which talks about a true life murders. It's tastefully done. Because I was editing an earlier episode where we talked about Sufjan. I was like, okay, what other times have there been tasteful coverage of real life murders? And I guess this is another time. There's more to say, but you'll get another time. We'll get to talking about.
There's a lot to say about that album art, but we can just move. There's a lot to look into this album.
Yeah, number 9 is a band that I was told by my co-host to not research ahead of this, and that is the band Big Star with their album Third, or sometimes titled Sister Lovers, released in 1978.
Okay, so you didn't listen to you've never listened.
I listened to everything. I just did not look up anything else other than listening to music.
Okay. Yeah. It's not as scandalous as I remember it. So I did some more research, and it's not so bad. But are you familiar with Big Star?
I've listened to some of it, and now I've listened to the 3 albums. And I know about some of it from the song by a band that's coming up in today's episode about Alex Chilton.
Okay.
Yes, I know a little bit.
And what do you think of Big Star?
I think it sounds really good. Particularly, one of the things I did know previously was that one of their songs was used, a cover of it was used as the theme for the 70s show.
Yeah.
So I need that. And listening to Third, I definitely saw it as the best of the 3 of their albums. Like,
definitely.
Because it's their final album.
It's, in my opinion, it's a masterpiece. It's kind of defined indie rock. It was like a missing link for me when I was younger. I was like, okay, this is where we get that kind of haunting, somewhat kind of pathetic sound. These kind of grand, ambient kind of tracks, but they're also sort of lo-fi and just that mixture. So if you haven't seen the documentary about them, but they took a big risk calling themselves Big Star, but it didn't seem like they were off the mark there, because they were really set up to be just this huge band. And if you listen to the first 2 albums, they're these rockers in that kind of 70s way, but there's something a little bit fragile about them, hard to define, but they become indie rock heroes. And all the bands that I listened to, and my boyfriend and his dad who owned a record label, just anybody talked about, I feel like, in the 90s was Big Star. And everybody was, the Replacements mention him and have a whole song about Alex. About that. But this album was kind of, so Chris Bell is a member of the band. He left the band, and then they went on to make this album. Okay, so there's a photographer, William Eggleston. He's one of the great color photographers. of our time. He's my favorite. Anyway, he's from Tennessee, so there's like a Tennessee connection.
Mhm.
And his younger cousin or second cousin ended up dating Alex Chilton. But she was really young, but she wasn't that young. She was only
Mhm.
5 years younger than him. But
Mhm.
I thought that there was a greater age difference, but there wasn't. So a
Mhm.
lot of the songs were inspired by her. And then the other remaining band member was dating her sister. So they were both dating these two sisters, hence the album title Sister Lovers. And they had a Alex Chilton, and her name was Lisa Aldridge. Her name is something different now, but
Mhm.
Lisa Aldridge. And she's singing on the version of Femme Fatale, which I also think is kind of an important. That was my first time hearing Femme Fatale, which is a Velvet Underground
Mhm.
song, of course, but it's just, I don't know, it created this kind of link into American indie rock as we see it today. I'm kind of surprised this isn't number one on the list, but of course it's way up there.
Yeah.
It's just a really haunting and beautiful album. And that's all I really have to say about it. Alex Chilton's kind of a controversial figure. I take some issues with him, but it's always been kind of sacrilege to do that.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to get too into it, so we don't have.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have to. One thing I did also know previously, he had a hit song as his teenage band, correct?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. Send me a letter.
It was the
Oh,
box
man.
something box top.
I gotta know Alex Chilton.
The name of the band became and sort of they ended up not become in the time not being a big stars. But
Right.
yeah, as you said later on, it became such an influential band.
Mm-hmm.
He released solo albums, right, over the years too.
Yes, he
Actually,
did. He had several projects. The Box Tops, yes, the
that
letter
was okay. Yeah.
in 1967. Yeah, and so he just continued to make music. I mean, he died just a few years ago, but he just kept going. He would play solo concerts. My friends' dads would go see him, and he just meant so much to so many people. But he kind of struggled quite a bit with addiction and was somewhat temperamental, to say the least. But clearly, a very influential album that I still love to this day. It's so
Yeah.
nostalgic and haunting.
Wasn't there also some sort of delay in it being released?
Oh, I can't remember. They recorded in Memphis. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Their career, those three albums, like there was a lot went down, and they just kept, yeah, they just had trouble throughout,
Mhm.
and that which is highlighted in the documentary about them, which Shane says I've watched, but I have no memory of it whatsoever. Which is, I don't think I've seen it. But he was like, "Yes, we totally watched it together." I was like, "I don't remember," and I'm not that much of a burnout, so
Yeah, no, so it was the session started in 74. The original pressings were in 75, but it wasn't actually released until 78.
okay, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, before there was even punk, I said there's development by Sister Lovers. There's so much more to it. Listening to it and then hearing all like, oh, it's so influential. So many bands that I love
hmm
were so influenced, and bands above it on the list were so influenced by it. But yeah, I'll read the blurb. Ex-teen idol makes nervous breakdown something to aspire to. Alex Chilton is indie rock's first folk hero, and this is his most mythic moment. Raggedly gorgeous, his band's third album is full of weary power pop, shaky guitar, and piano chords that seem less played than slumped on. Proof that perfection is overrated.
yeah, agree. I think that's
Yeah, that's a good. That final sentence actually, I think, it overall fits for the list as well.
yeah,
Perfection is overrated. Yeah.
yeah. That's what makes it indie rock in a way.
Yeah, although number 8 on this list was created by a perfectionist. That
Yeah,
is
that's true.
the album Loveless by the band My Bloody Valentine from 1991.
Yeah,
Probably the best shoegaze album and one of
yeah.
the best albums of the 90s.
The
It took
title.
forever to be made. There's legends about the delays and the different sessions and who actually was on the album, how much money was spent spent on it.
I mean, people were fired and hired, and you said he's a perfectionist, but it sounds imperfect. Famously, we know that during the recording process, he would manually delay the tapes to give it that, that sound of a warp in the recording kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, while I was re-listening to it, I was listening to it through a Blu-ray player, and around I think track 8, there was this weird sound, and I was like, I don't remember this sound being in here, but I'm like, it could be. No, there was something wrong with the player. It was not. It was creating this extra like track of like noise to it. That I was like, this isn't actually.
Oh my god!
This isn't actually in there. It wasn't the CD. I listened to the CD in my car, and it was fine. So it was just something. Also, potentially a sign that I need to get something else to play my CDs on. One of my favorite albums. One of the cool albums I actually found while I was in high school.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I found out about it. Yeah, this is so different than what I was listening to. But yeah, it fit because it was noisy. So I like noisy music, and it was like this was noisy. Vocals are not. They're very quiet. I mean, there's songs that I have no idea what they're saying. I did see one that some of like the lyrics were written in hours long sessions, and that's like right before they need to be recorded.
Whoa, okay.
It's one of the things I heard.
If you ever sing any of these songs, you will notice you don't know what they're saying, so you're just
because it's one of the things that it's so because I also have listened to their debut album, and it sounds so different from that. And that's an album. I mean, it's very good, but it sounds
clear.
It's clear. And one thing it's such an obvious thing that I just didn't notice because how much the focus is on the guitars is that the drumming was sampled from the drummer.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a human drummer, but it's samples of, so it's not a drum machine, but it's used almost like, almost as if it was yeah, it's very hazy, dreamy.
Oh, I mean, it's an atmospheric and it can sound really different depending on what you're listening to it on because it's so saturated. Mm-hmm. I remember listening to it on a little boom box in the cemetery with my Riot Girl zines in high school. But I remember it sounding it sounded good but it was so on a tape, it was like on a tape on this like crappy boom box.
Yeah.
A little square of and I remember thinking, God, this album rules. Even then,
it sounded good on a 128 kilo MP3 as well, and it sounds good now on a CD. But
I got the CD of it used, and I was like, gosh, it sounds so clear. Yeah. It had like some dub tape of it. It's changes.
Yeah. Until preparing this, I kind of never processed what's actually the cover, other than the fact that it's very pink.
Yeah.
Because it's a guitar.
Oh right. Yeah.
It's Kevin Shields and Belinda Buscher, who's the female vocalist. The drummer, he recorded his parts, and they were sample them. And he is. But then the other members of the band are credited, but they do not play on the album.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah.
They're credited, and they're not.
So the last My Bloody Valentine release until 2013 for their third album to finally come out. Because I mean, part of it was Kevin Shields did not want to release an album worse than the one that already made, and trying to top Loveless is not something that I can imagine trying to actually accomplish, because it's one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah, it truly is.
For the blurb, the gold standard of shoegazing. Kevin Shields' warm, lavishly detailed torrents of guitar noise and Belinda Buscher's androgynous purr spawn a generation of followers. I mean, I am a fan of shoegaze.
Me too.
I mean, the other bands of that time, Ride and Slow Dive.
Slow Dive I loved.
And some of them have had comebacks. I know, like Slow Dive, I believe they have an album this year.
They were touring like a year ago, or maybe this year.
Yeah. I have heard that shoegaze has become popular among the younger sects. And there are bands that definitely have brought the influence of like the guitar work and like the guitar sounds into newer bands. There's also black gaze, which is a fusion of black metal and shoegaze, which is some of my favorite shoegaze. I mean, one of my favorite albums is Sunbather by the metal band Death Heaven, which is very shoegaze influenced. Having said how much I love this album, I would never try to go see them live.
Thinking about their live just now, actually, when you were talking.
Because it's, from all I heard, it's deafening,
Yes.
deafeningly loud.
Yes. It's amazing that Kevin Shields doesn't have tinnitus or something, because that it is. It's loud. And then he had do you say flutist or flautist? He had a flute
I
player
would,
who would play like the high parts of the Loveless album when they toured it.
Mhm.
And just imagine that volume
Yeah.
and that high end. And
Yeah. I mean, we talked about a previous episode about the influence of Dinosaur Jr. and of J Mascis. And that's, I mean, definitely as far as playing just absurdly loud. I was thinking of what's the loudest band I've seen. I mean, it might be No Age. That's the only where I could not, like, I couldn't hear for a while afterwards. And my mom, who was there as well, that's when it took me to. Yeah, like it was like a small venue where there was in the front there was like a couch set up so you could chill. So she wasn't even that, like, she was on the other of the building, and it was still, her hearing was still affected too. Yeah. Great show though, and that's not actually the show that damaged my hearing. That was a different one.
Oh, yeah.
I've never mentioned what show it was where I actually did like hurt my hearing. It was actually in Athens. It was at the 40 Watt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw Titus Andronicus with Craig Finn of the Privily Talked About Band of the Hold Steady. But yeah, no, I mean, I was just the issue was that I was too close to like the speaker, and I wasn't wearing ear protection at that show. But yeah, to any younger listeners, always wear ear protection.
Always wear ear protection. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's worth getting. I mean, even just the cheap ones, but it's worth getting something on a little bit more expensive, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Number 7 is one of the earliest bands on this list.
Yes.
It is the band The Velvet Underground with their third album, the self-titled Little Underground from 1969. So I'm intrigued by their choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird to it's really good. It's a good album, but it's weird to choose it over either of their first two.
Right.
I mean, their debut, The Velvet Underground and Nico, is a classic. Then their White Light, White Heat is even more uncomfortable and abrasive, but influenced a ton of. At the time, there were so many haters. There were so many people, hated. So many music reviewers and musicians hated them.
Yeah.
There's so many quotes of how terrible it was.
Yes.
It adds to their legend of Lou Reed and John Cale. Because I sometimes wonder now, it's like, oh, is this I don't like? Is it, well, future generations think more of this, but there's a band, 2010's a band called Cymbals Eat Guitars, which is named after a review of the Underground. One of the things is that this album is after Lou Reed fires John Cale.
I'm calling bullshit on this choice. You have to pick the first. You have to pick the Nico.
I'd say, or I could say picking the second because it's even more out there than the first.
Right. I mean,
it is a weird.
A man, I mean, you can't mess with.
Yeah. No, I mean, the first is overall my favorite. I appreciate the second.
Than the other.
Yeah. The third is sort of put as Lou trying to be more popular or trying to tame it down, bring it down a little bit, while still not being successful to do that. I mean, it took years later, he had success, like commercial success as a solo artist.
Right. I mean, and then culminating in his project with Metallica.
Yeah.
What's it called? What is it called? Lulu.
I was considering listening to that for this episode, but I decided that I'll save it for another time. I mean, that might be another case of Lou Reed just being ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, because he had that album. What was the one the Noise one?
Oh, right. Yeah.
The Metal Machine Music.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, what is your feeling on his solo music compared to the Velvets?
I like the Velvets. I hate it because I have my cousin really likes it, so he'll never listen to this. But no, I don't really like it. No, I don't like it. I like the Velvet Underground, and that's about it. I mean, I can get down with a Walk on the Wild Side, what have you. But no, I don't see he doesn't speak to me personally.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that.
Cool.
Yeah, one thing is I am more familiar with Velvet Underground than so I did not realize that he has the song "Satellite of Love," which I was like, oh, that's where it's from. I was like, because I wondered why it was called that in Mystery Science Theater
Right.
2000. It's like, oh, that's where it's from.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, it all makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
So I read this graphic novel telling the story about the Velvet Underground.
Oh.
It's really interesting and it's well done. Yeah, it tells the story of Lou Reed and of John Cale and because their backstories are so
Is their backstory interesting?
I mean, Lou Reed went through his parents forced him to have shock treatment.
I did not know that. Oh,
Yeah.
what?
With John Cale, it is. I mean, one of the things is that he brought a level of chops and of musical knowledge to the band when he was because he's from the UK. I mean, when he made it to music school, he was farther out than even the professors there. And so, I mean, at least within the graphic novel, it sort of points to these sort of simpatico people, and then that end up working together. Partly because I guess of the album they chose, we haven't mentioned Andy Warhol yet.
Oh, right.
And because you can put Valerian as another of his to freak out the squares. There's the show they played at Psychiatrist Ball.
Yeah.
Where they, for some of his experimental films, they'd be behind the thing for it. You know, it's Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morrison, and Mo Tucker. I mean, her drumming is. I like it. I mean, I guess, but I like simple drumming. Yeah, I would recommend that because they are talked about in this oral history of punk that I read a couple months ago. That tells us because we haven't mentioned heroin yet either. We haven't mentioned the drug issues I mean, heroin is a song you can just not. I mean, even today, I don't think you can play it on the square radio stations. I mean, I mean there are places where you can play it, but I mean maybe a college radio or like a independent radio, maybe on the satellite.
Totally.
And Venus and Furs. I mean, there's stuff that.
I mean, I remember hearing it in the '90s, being like shocked. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
About this, he's saying the name of this drug and
he's talking about bondage and like S&M.
Cross-dressing. I mean, it's just it's incredibly subversive and ahead of its time. And I just am still reeling from what I'm learning about Lou Reed's childhood and shock therapy, and I did not know that about him.
Yeah, and I mean he got hepatitis probably from sharing needles.
Okay.
So it affected him a little bit later on. Yeah, what's the name of the
Dang. Then he ended up marrying Laurie Anderson. I just went and saw her thing in New York. Superman, you know.
The name of the graphic novel is All Tomorrow's Parties, The Velvet Underground Story.
Okay.
I borrowed it virtually from the library, so you might be able to find it. They're there. I mean, you could talk forever talking about the Velvet Underground, and I mean, you can also just talk about all the the negative reviews and the mentions of the insults pointed towards them, and then Nico. I mean, yeah, I like her voice. I mean, I can understand why it's haunting.
My kid can do she can do a perfect Nico imitation. She calls it bad music, and she'll be like, "All tomorrow's party."
Yeah, she's an interesting personality.
Yeah, she should be on this list. She had a solo album. It's great.
Yeah, well, she had 2 solo albums. I've only listened to the first. I heard that she didn't like the first one when she heard it, but yeah, These Days is one of the greatest. I know she didn't. I mean, her version. I mean, Jackson Brown he wrote the song for the blurb. The original indie band, sure. Lou Reed, a shades-wearing, heroin-liking poet of urban doom, traded wailing amps for clear pastoral beauty on The View's third album, opening up his cold New York heart to sing about the search for salvation in a fallen world. Yeah, sure. I heard a good cover of Pale Blue Eyes actually. I saw several years ago. I saw Robin Hitchcock.
Yes, isn't he on this list?
Yeah, as we get to the end, I definitely have wait, why isn't this band on here?
Totally. I should start making that list right now.
Yeah. While you do that, I've been making the list of the bands that would be on it if it was potentially on it, like the one of the year since then.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll have other chances to talk about this band. But yeah, so number 6 is of the top 10. It was the most recent album, and it is an album that I used to love.
Okay, because I'm going to let you take it away because I know nothing about them.
It is Arcade Fire with their debut album Funeral from 2004. It was a band that my cousin introduced me to that, as I listened to, became bigger. Funeral it's a very sincere sounding, very willing to go there in a way that to express themselves in ways that sometimes other bands weren't doing at the time. Their debut run of Funeral, Neon Bible, The Suburbs is, an amazing run. The Suburbs is one of the good albums to at least get some sort of Grammy. Because I remember at the time there was like I think it was like Rosie O'Donnell, like, who's the Arcade Fire after they won The Suburbs? Right. My love of them has been dampened by the allegations against Win Butler of like sexual misconduct. So like, I just couldn't get myself. If it plays, when they're up, I just change the channel. I couldn't get myself to actually re-listen to it for this recording. So sad to hear, because one of the things is that the relationship between Win and Regine is so important to the band. It's another one of those big Canadian bands. There's like so many members.
Yeah.
I've heard that their early shows were so intense that there's so much like movement. After the blow-away success of The Suburbs, they kind of Reflector was going in even more of a dance direction. It has some good songs to it, but then from there it's sort of even before that, I wasn't really interested in their later albums.
Okay.
It was Win and Will Butler, so it was another sibling band. Yeah, so their maternal grandfather was Alvino Ray, who was a jazz guitarist.
He was involved
in the development of like electric guitar. Arcade Fire was these albums were there's a lot of bombast to it. There's also of bands sort of ripping off some of the sounds and became sort of like some of the popular indie or the non-indie of like the stomp clap. I've heard it described as the millennial whoop.
I actually heard them for the first time and taped them off the radio when I was in Canada. It was them and Broken Social Scene, and I was like, oh my god, this Canadian indie rock band. And like this unwieldy, too many members band. And I bought the album, but then they became so kind of inflated. And then I didn't know about the allegations, or I missed that because they just kind of fell
in the last couple of years.
Okay, yeah, then I definitely.
Yeah, no, it was more recent. It was of more recent. Suburbs was a concept album about the suburbs, and there's some of the songs were so good. I'd still put that Funeral as their best, but Suburbs also influenced one of my favorite bands. Not like necessarily musically, but album structure wise, of a 16-song, 4 songs each side,
as part of a concept album.
The blurb: indie rock Max Fisher players throughout this Montreal Trip's debut, cataclysms, snowstorms, blackouts, set the stage for Win Butler's fantasies and nightmares of adolescent freedom. There are multi-part chorals and metaphors purpler than Barney, but the spirit is pure punk. Yeah. One movie is Max Fisher. What's that character? I don't. I think it's Wes Anderson, but I'm not.
Oh.
Let me. Okay, Rushmore, the main character in Rushmore.
Okay.
When we talk about reactions to this list, there's definitely people who were mad about it, how high this album was placed.
Yeah.
Because it's only a couple years old at the time.
Yeah, a couple of years old at the time. That's right.
Yeah, just in the music, I would place them high on a list of indie rock albums. I don't know if it would still be top 10, but it'd be high. That's all I really say for Arcade Fire for now. Number 5 on this list is just an amazing band. This is another one where it should be number 1. I think
Well, I don't know about number one.
the only reason it might not be more is because the album that not in this list of them is even better, maybe. But
And I think most people would say this could very easily be number one. So let's just say, like, this is the Pixies, y'all.
with their debut album Surfer Rosa.
I mean, we've all danced our butts off. This is when we all love this album.
Yeah, Kim Deal, Frank Black.
Yes, I mean Frank Black.
The quickest side as far as of albums being mad it's not on here is I'm surprised that the Breeders aren't on this list.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
If
Definitely.
that was today, they would definitely.
Yeah.
If they're trying to be controversial, might put that above the Pixies. But I feel like there might be someone who believes that kind of creative.
Yeah. So just so classic. So
yes, it is so influential. The Loud, Quiet, Loud.
Yep. Yes. Quiet Loud. That's right.
Yeah, with production by Steve Albini, which I think it gives it more edge than Doolittle, which I like about it. The bass and like drum sound. It's another one I got to in high school. Like I actually like of the ones I found on my without knowing that it was classic, or just like with like hearing about it and finding it and just like, really loving it.
Yeah.
Where's My Mind? One of the
Yes.
I mean, that's their most known song, I guess, by far. But it still holds up. It brings me back to like, a trip I went on in middle school. I mean,
Yes. Oh, really?
I didn't hear it then, but it reminded because there was like a school trip to sea camp in like Florida Keys, and I went snorkeling in the Caribbean. So I've actually kind of experienced the little fish, yeah, going kick. The vocals are so crazy. Which Frank Black is just his vocal performances are so wild. Gigantic is another huge classic
They were
song.
going to name that album that.
I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been fitting too, because that's what I think about. It's just such a gigantic album.
Yeah. Although, because I mean, Surfer Rosa is a character within some of the sections where he's singing in Spanish for whichever reason.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually know why he does it. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't know why they do a lot of things. They have this kind of mystery band quality in a way. A lot of I mean, Kim Deal she's such a trippy human being, and just a lot of creative.
And a little bit was she a little bit older too when she started playing, or
No, I don't know. I mean, the famous saying is that they put up a sign that's like bass player needed no chops, and so she.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how old she was. That would make sense. I mean, she's young at heart to this day, but
yeah.
How old is she? She looks so young all the time.
She's currently 64.
I mean, she was like 4 years older than him, than Frank Black. I mean.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Because wasn't the thing also like they want someone who's into like Husker Du and the Carpenters? I think that's also in the legend of the band.
Okay, that makes. I think.
I mean, there's a little bit of both in there. Yeah, there is some pop in there, like classic pop mixed with like the noise of the underground.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's in the continuum of indie and like underground music, and into the development of like alternative rock, of that becoming like a big deal. Because I mean, Kurt Cobain, this is of the follows the theme of bands that influence Kurt Cobain are some of his favorite bands. Musically, the influence on Smells Like Teen Spirit is huge.
And it brought on yet another revival of this music, which just sounded. It sounds as new today as it did in 1988, but I'm definitely listening to it all through high school. It just never lost its. And in a way, I hate to make this comparison, it's a little like Violent Femmes and that kind of. There's something very. I don't know why I couple those two, but there's something just classic.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, there is something adolescent in a way, vocally, that kind of strangeness to it. I mean, I think one of the things also is I love surf. I mean, I grew up with some like surf music, so like the surf guitar always attracts me to something. Doolittle and Surfer Rosa are such classics. Bossa Nova is still good. It's just not quite as good. And then what's that last one? The Kim Deal-less album, Trompe Le Monde. Pixies, they definitely at one point were my like favorite bands, like the top 5 like favorite bands.
Yeah.
Got into the Breeders and Pod, Blast Splash.
Yeah.
So influential, so awesome. At one point, I wanted to start a band called the Kims.
That's a great. That's great.
Because I mean, it's like, oh yeah, two of the greatest indie bands of all time have Kim's.
Totally. That makes sense.
Do you want to mention the cover of Surferissa?
Yeah, I'm reading about that.
It's a photograph.
Photograph, yep, of a topless, quote, friend of a friend. I always thought it was like a really old photo, but it's somebody and they're dressed up. It's kind of got, it looks like a tintype. Is that what it's called? A type of photograph, but and it's this topless woman and she's kind of wearing traditional Spanish costuming. I should actually, let's see. Okay, so according to, I hate to be like Wikipedia, taken at a pub and oh no, just a raised stage.
Is Simon their bestseller?
Okay.
They use his photography to their album sleeves. It's very distinct.
And it inspired the title of the album. It's like why they
Yeah, and the character of Surferosa.
Mm-hmm.
The balance between the beauty and the ugliness.
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the reasons I like it more than Doolittle is that there's a little bit of more of that edge to it still.
Right.
It's picking between two just amazing releases. If someone listening to this somehow has not listened to the Pixies, please go ahead and do so. So the reunions have always been weird to me.
Yeah. Oh, tell me. Say more.
I mean, just because eventually Kim leaves is like kicked out of the band or leaves the band again.
I didn't
So
know
then there's like replacements for Kim.
Oh.
And then I think one of them has been replaced too.
Mm-mm. No.
It just doesn't feel the same without Kim.
No.
I mean, even because like Frank Black, I mean, he's so
talented,
but there's just something about her being in the band and
that makes it.
Yeah, because even though he sings almost all the songs,
Yeah.
like even though all that stuff, it still needs Kim Deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't entirely make logical sense why that's the case, but it is true.
Exactly.
So we're getting into some of the longer blurbs.
Oh yeah.
In a playful way, one of Kurt Cobain's favorite bands was as crazy as he was. The frumpy Bostonians had psychotic surf guitars, surrealist sex-starved shrieking, and clangorous eardrum-punishing noise. But their full-length debut also cranked out tune after tune of bizarre bubblegum fun. The loud, quiet dynamics in Black Francis's warped teen scream rattled walls, but bassist vocalist Kim Deal's chalky, cheery singing added the right pinch of cuteness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of their demo releases?
No, I have not.
They're definitely not quite as good, but it is interesting to hear. So, Come On Pilgrim. And I think there's also another release I didn't know about that I meant to or listen to for this. Yeah, Come On Pilgrim, a debut mini album. There's also another EP, part of their demo. It was released in 2002, but it's from like their original demo like recording. It's called The Purple Tape.
Cool.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's as good as Surfer Rosa, but it is cool. It is like a little. If you want to hear something slightly different, but still of like really high quality. Moving on to number 4 is a band that I'm sure Courtney has a lot to say.
I do, because as we may know, I'm living here in Athens, Georgia. All my cousins and my aunts and uncles lived here, and my great whatever were here too. And my cousins were around when this band was, I guess they were here in like 86 or maybe later. Anyway, so REM has been in my life. I would get tapes of theirs from my cousins and they would make me listen to it. And then they just got bigger and bigger. And so this is their first album, and it's way up on this list. We are at number 4 in Murmur, their first album. And again, like you said, there's a pattern of kind of the first or the self-titled albums making the list. I mean, it's just so hard to say, but this is when the band was sort of unformed and more lo-fi. They had a much grander sound as they went along, and some might say became somewhat over inflated in the late 90s, but that's for people to debate.
Because for today, we're talking about the 1983 album, their debut.
Yes, it's their debut album.
Yeah, with Radio Free Europe is one of the
yes, their
great
first
songs.
Totally. IRS records.
Formed in Athens. I mean, weren't they originally playing at parties?
Yes, party band. I mean, I have so many books about them. Yes, and at the local, just little bars and dives. This is during a time when there wasn't much of a downtown in Athens, and everything was like kind of burnout. And I think Michael Stipe called this town like a hippie cow town at the time. And there was a lot of just kind of like a country feel
Mhm.
to, I mean, all of Georgia, frankly. And this college town is like this small oasis of weirdness in the midst of just fields. And the cover of this album, I mean, you can't talk about this album without talking about the cover, which features an invasive plant called kudzu that, if you know, you know, covers entire forests and will destroy everything in its path, but it's kind of beautiful too. It
Mhm.
takes on, it gives all the trees that it covers kind of a monstrous, like they're being covered with like a blanket, and the
Mhm.
branches start to look like arms. And there are these old railroad trellises around here. And so this is a photograph of, I think it's winter because the leaves are not out. It's just these vines covering these
Mhm.
railroad trellises. And I will also say that they finally tore down this trellis. It was falling apart, a danger to society, this old train trellis in the middle of the woods near the Oconee River. And it was just falling apart, but everyone would be like, we have to keep it, we have to keep it, you know, murmur. It was called the murmur trellis, but they finally, like a couple of years ago, finished this big trail that is actually quite beautiful. It's like a walking bridge now, and they've used some of the
Mhm.
original parts of the trellis. Oh my God, I could just go on and on. So the recording of this album is very lo-fi. Mitch Easter, who's from North Carolina, he's from Charlotte.
It was recorded in Charlotte, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they hired this other guy, Stephen Haig, to record them, and he had like a higher profile. But then
Mhm.
they didn't like his recording style. He wanted to use keyboards. They wanted a really stripped down style.
Mhm.
And it also said, I just read in the Wikipedia that Bill Berry, the drummer, got really demoralized by having to redo all these songs and do all these different takes. So they petitioned to get Mitch Easter back. And then he had a really hands-off approach and allowed them to just do their thing. And they completed
Mhm.
the album that way.
Yeah.
And it's very murmury, very lo-fi and timeless.
Yeah.
They were big fans, Peter Buck especially, of Nick Drake, which we've talked about, Pink Moon, that album in particular. They wanted that raw sound. They use like a drum booth, which you don't use anymore. So
Yeah. Lyrically, it's hard. It's just some of the songs are hard to figure out if there's a concrete meaning.
totally. Because Michael Stipe was really shy and he was just being arty and just kind of, yeah, he was kind of mumbling. He was kind of murmuring at this time. He hadn't really, I mean, he found his voice. He's always had an incredible voice, but it's a little less of that full-throated and it's very obscure, like his lyrics
Mhm.
continued to be throughout his career. But
Yeah.
do they
Yeah.
belong
Actually,
in this place in the
yeah. Again, this is another one where if you put it at number one, I would be happy with it at number
Oh,
one.
you would? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's their best.
Oh,
There's a
really?
lot of options. Yeah. Any of their because they're one of the most consistently high quality
That's true.
bands. I mean, any of their '80s albums,
Yep.
some of their like early '90s stuff too. It's a long stretch
Yeah.
of just quality.
And I
Um,
like that one I like the one they did with Patti Smith. I like some of their later stuff too.
yeah, strong connection to. They didn't go through a lot, the same dudes.
They're the same dudes year after year, except now Bill Berry left the band though
Mhm.
after New Adventures in Hi-Fi, which I also,
Mhm.
but they're all still
Um,
friends and they all still come around here and hang out. And
mhm.
Bill Berry lives around here and Mike Mills, and they're all still around. And you see Michael Stipe wandering around. I think he's still doing it.
I read this. He's also gay, which is, I guess
Yeah.
you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I always find it really, I like bands where it's a bunch of heterosexual guys and then their gay friend. I don't know. There's something. very affirming about that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love Michael Stipe. He's still
Mm-hmm.
out there trying to get people to vote and, you know, being politically active. Not that.
Yeah, I mean, they were political.
And some people, argue that there are other bands, and REM themselves would talk about Pylon. Should Pylon be on this list? Probably. That are from Athens.
I mean,
But
B-52s.
and B-52s. Yeah, should they be on this list? That's another thing we can talk
Yeah, I guess we'd have to extend this list another
about.
100,
Indie rock.
another 200 maybe. If you really wanted to like effectively cover, I mean, with another almost 20 years having passed since this list was written.
Yes.
I mean, they're a band that just grew in size without, but they never compromised their artistic expression,
They did
and they
not.
just grew bigger and bigger.
Yes. And there's a podcast about them with Adam Scott and Scott Aukerman called "Are You Talking REM Re Me?" Anyway.
I'll read the blurb. With jangly riffs and emotive mumbling, Georgians invent college rock. Coming in like a radio station from a strange faraway land, Athens, Georgia, REM's full-length debut arrived just as post-punk was dead-ending into arty weirdness and dopey new wave. The songs were often downright beautiful, and Michael Stipe's impassioned, mush-mouthing injected emotions beside hate and alienation into underground rock, even if you had absolutely no idea what he was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, to the depth of college rock in the '80s, before there was alternative, before there was indie, college rock was.
Yeah, college rock. That's that.
Yeah.
Declining band for that, aren't they?
Yeah. Which is your favorite, actually?
Of their albums? I mean,
yeah,
I've had a lot of. I've had trouble with this question, but I mean, I'm a big fan. Okay, my favorite song by them is the one I love, which is on Document. Yes, I have to be Green, but then I also and it's also a long album. They really pack it in. Green is just very complete. But I also like Life's Rich Pageant is also
okay, yeah, that's another
Yeah, what are
80s.
yours?
And I mean, I think Document. I mean, I like Document, but
Yeah.
I think Murmur is my favorite.
Murmur
I
is your
mean,
favorite.
it was definitely something I heard it was recommended to me, or that I read articles or mentioning it. Found out in some ways about their earliest stuff first, or heard. Really, Reckoning is really good too. Don't Go Back to Rockville is.
Yes.
I mean, that could be their best. I could argue that is maybe their best. I mean, The End of the World, it is such a.
Oh, such a great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Maybe that's the first song I heard. Actually, I think maybe because I think maybe it's like in a commercial or something, or like a theme for a TV show or something.
Yeah.
That might be the first one I heard. I think. Okay, yeah, the one I love was their first top 10 hit.
When the video started playing, which is also my favorite video of all time, it's such a gorgeous video. It was just like this. I just remember my family and my cousins were like, "Oh my God, this band that we know, we see them all the time. They're like on MTV." It was I don't know, for Georgians, it was a big deal. Let me tell you, there was never a more famous band from Georgia. It felt like. I mean, of course, there's Ray Charles,
Yeah.
James Brown,
Yeah.
but at this time, it's been kind of a while.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah, it felt so good.
Our next band on this list, on this album, actually has a member of REM on it, which I did not know until I looked it up, until I was looking at the credits.
Oh.
Yeah. Peter Buck actually plays on the first song. He plays on the I Will Dare.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that. This is number 3, y'all. This is The Replacements. Let It Be.
From 1984.
84.
Yeah. 84 is like that year. I mean, it's like one of the great years of independent music.
I think it's my favorite year.
It's a good choice. There's this. We talked about Double Nickels, talked about Zen Arcade.
Mm-hmm. Do you like this album, this band?
Yeah, no, I love The Replacements.
Okay. This album's very important to me. This is my breakup album with my high school boyfriend. Unsatisfied. It's that song still, not because I miss my ex-boyfriend, But that song still makes me cry pretty much when I hear it. It kills me.
That's a song that made me realize that I was really not doing well. And it described how
Really?
yeah. And it was the exact I was unsatisfied with my life and
Oh my
how it was
God,
feeling.
it does.
Yeah.
It really, yeah. Oh, the way, I mean, there's nothing like that song. Oh, it kills me. It's just the way he sings it, he's just screaming, vocal fry. Brian Adams and Springsteen's got nothing on his singing style. And the song, and is there's like it's a violin, right? Isn't there a violin playing?
Paul Westerberg, Bob Stinson on guitar, Tommy Stinson, little kid on bass, Chris Mars on drums. There's a lap steel on Unsatisfied.
Oh.
That might be the sound.
As the song comes to a close, Westerberg practically shreds his voice in an anguished performance that pulls at the heartstrings. It really does. That was ultimate classic rock.
Yeah, it's a band that could have been so much bigger, at least
Yeah,
from, but they were kind of fuck ups.
they were. When they went on Saturday Night Live, Wasted.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the chapter in Our Band Can't Be Your Life, but their placements is really the story's so interesting. To read another quote, the Replacements made a career out of a prolonged adolescence, although it was an awkward adolescence. Along the way, they magically metamorphosized from a raucous bunch of post-teens into the band that produced the landmark Let It Be, one of the greatest rock records ever made. And also, with their self-deprecating, even self-destructive style, they pioneered the loser sensibility that has been imitated in various ways ever since.
Yep.
And it was also that it was hit or miss. You could either get an amazing show or it could be a complete disaster.
Yes.
And I mean, it was a punk band.
Yeah, they were. We
And
forget.
there was points where they played fast. They played sort of hardcore, although they weren't. It was different. It wasn't quite. The anger is different. In the chapter, they made more like a really fast bar band than really a hardcore punk band.
Yes.
The story of them forming, of Bob Simpson wanting to keep his brother, that brother, out of trouble. Yeah, played with Chris Mars. Westerberg heard them playing, like walking along, and he kind of weaseled his way into being in the band, and he became their vocalist. But yeah, the balance between the raucousness, the craziness, along with the kind of maturity of within it too, of in the lyric. I mean, there's so many great lyrics in their songs.
Yeah.
So much cuts right to the heart. The album has a couple talked about Unsatisfied, but 16 Blue is
Yeah.
also. But there's still the energy rockiness. There's some.
Yeah.
They still have some of their dumb songs too.
Yes, there are a lot of
But like
dumb.
they perfected the dumb song.
Yeah.
There's not quite as many good dumb songs after this song. Tommy gets his tonsils out and senior video, and they have a Kiss cover, an amazing
Ah,
cover. Black Diamond's a Kiss song.
I didn't know that.
Sometimes to piss off their crowd, they play this like covers.
Yeah.
It's like this bet between wanting to be successful but not quite being able to, because we were talking about the Velvets, that kind of sort of thing of like not quite being able to. They could have been up there with REM as far as the commercially.
Totally.
Because I mean, they were one of like the underground bands that even normies could get. I mean, Big Star definitely was in there somewhere.
Yes. And they
I mean,
remind me of them in that they never quite made it as to the level they could have. Just
yeah.
and yeah, you can also see the influence. And
So a name I want to mention in here is Peter Jefferson, who was the co-founder of Twin Tone. He discovered them
okay.
like early on. He became their manager and helped introduce them to like he was the manager of the Gold Record Store in town. This is the other big Minneapolis indie band, along with Husker Du. But they parallel it because I mean, their placement was found so much earlier. They didn't have to. I don't know what the right word is. They didn't have to trudge through all of the sort of. I mean, they never had to book their own shows or drive their own van.
Okay. Because
I
would
mean,
they have been able to, you know?
and they weren't really political, but by being so honest and being so clear, androgynous and 16 Blue are very you touch on queerness and on just like nonconformity. So despite not being, they were very nonconformist bands.
Yes.
Um,
There is a douchey quality, but they're not.
They were drunk. They get drunk and
Yes,
be stupid. Did dumb stuff.
they
Just
did.
so I mean, yeah, as you said, they had a disastrous performance on Saturday Night Live,
Yes.
and there were some shows where they were playing for like record companies and they just didn't perform well. They kind of
Right. And then also Paul Westerberg did a solo album, and he was in
yeah,
like
he had some solo releases.
that
Yeah,
movie Singles, very 90s grunge. And so we
yeah.
were all like, into that album too, but then it didn't do that well.
Mm. Since we mentioned solo, so he randomly, this was in like the 2000s. I think he did the music for some like animated movie.
I think you're right. What was that?
There was talking animals in it, but I think it was it like Over the Hedge. I've never seen it because it did sound very good, but it was very like, wait, what? He makes music for soundtracks now.
He really got his stuff together and like stopped doing drugs, I think, and like
Yeah.
became a very respectable. I may have even seen him live, actually. I don't. Maybe I am a burnout.
I mentioned this in a previous episode. So I saw them on their reunion tour in 2014 because they played at that festival, Shaky Knees, that I went to in that year.
Okay.
They were playing at the same time as Jenny Lewis. So to update from a previous episode, so I was able to find inexpensive tickets to see Rilo Kiley. So I will be seeing them. Excited about, as well as previous entry, the Mountain Goats. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that was a great festival. Seeing the replacements. It's weird because Bob passed away in the 90s. I've forgotten this, but they had like originally sort of got back together to like a fundraiser album for Slim Dunlap, who was like the guitarist later on in the band, and that got them performing together, and they ended up doing that tour. And I remember Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. He actually performed with them because I think Paul broke his leg, so he was like performing sitting down on like a chair or something, like a fancy chair. But yeah, I remember it was like sort of like rain. The music's still magical. So I got into Tim first. That's what I heard first. So do you agree with the popular opinion that like it's really poorly produced?
Yes, absolutely. I don't really like.
I was re-listening to it. It had some of their best songs, but yeah, the production. So the Ed Stasium mix on the Let It Bleed edition, it is way better if you get a chance at some point.
Okay. And can I just mention the cover of this album is also just incredibly iconic of Let It Be.
Yeah, them on the roof.
One guy is scratching his eyes. It's not Paul White. Who is that scratching his eye? What's that guy?
I think that's Tommy.
Okay, he's the little one, right?
Yeah, he was like 12 years old when they started. So he's barely above like the amps. But yeah, Paul looking away from the camera.
Yes, he's looking away. I know. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I have this on a t-shirt. It's falling apart now, but it's like holes in it. Yeah, it's actually, I have it in purple instead of blue, but yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts I've ever like owned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an original, I guess, but
No, it's not. Yeah, it's like a reproduction or whatever.
Like,
there's holes in it now. I can't wear it anymore, sadly. Pleased to Meet Me has that has their Alex Chilton song. I haven't listened to Pleased to Meet Me in like over 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just I haven't. It feels so connected to a time, and I think of Alex Chilton.
Yeah, that's
I need to listen to this again. I'm looking at the track list. There's so many. Can't Hardly Wait is one of their best songs. Mostly stuck with the classic 3 plus the early. I do have their debut album. It's Sorry Ma. I forgot to take out the trash.
yeah. Oh, right.
I love their song I Hate Music on that. I hate music, but sometimes I don't. I hate music that has too many notes.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, yeah, they've influenced so many of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
So great. Do you want to read the blurb?
Okay, I'd love to read the blurb. Booze, boners, insanely great underdog punk song, playing pathos like Bud from a long neck. These Minneapolis fuck-ups hurled themselves through a garbled mess of hardcore, hair of the dog metal, and DT's piano ballads, and emerged like wobbly conquistadors. Credit Paul Westerberg's dumbfoundingly great songcraft, unsatisfied, can still spur catharsis. and occasionally binge drinking, in parentheses, and even the numbest of underachievers. I think that's a great little
Description, yeah.
description. I didn't realize how universally cathartic Unsatisfied was. I thought that was my own special experience with that song, but it hits
Yeah,
you, it hits a lot of people.
yeah. Going through the track list, Answering Machine. I've never been a traveling musician, but it feels like it's fits the, or I guess like of a long distance relationship too. Yeah, how can I say I miss you to your Answering Machine?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Even the dumb songs are great on this album.
It's
in a
true.
way that maybe
I don't like dumb songs usually, but somehow theirs are just so innocent.
Mhm.
It reminds me, I don't know, of youth culture from the 70s that Big Star was trying to encapsulate as well.
Mhm. Number 2 is, this could be number 1 easily, Sonic Youth with their album Daydream Nation on Blast First and Enigma from 1988.
Yes.
So I love this album.
Yep. But we have mentioned both off tape that this is not our favorite Sonic Youth album.
So I believe you mentioned it. I mentioned that it is my favorite.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But your favorite is my second favorite.
Okay. What is my favorite? This one,
Sister.
Yeah, Sister is my favorite. Yeah. And Goo has a lot of hits, and I would say if you're starting out with them, I would recommend that one. But
so it's hard because I did actually go through, because I decided to just go through their early discography because there's some I hadn't heard. The songs are sprawling songs on this album. I mean, this was my introduction, but yeah, I don't know, because they are a challenging band in ways that I don't. Yeah, so it might have to start with individual songs, maybe, if you're trying to get someone into them.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to have them listen to 40 minutes or however long. They're a noisy band. You could catalog them as noise rock if you wanted to. They started on the edges of no wave, which we talked about previously.
Yes.
Over time, there was more traditional songcraft that started applying to their noise. The sounds that they can make, that Thurston and Lee can make with guitars, was nothing else. And then Kim Gordon, her not quite singing here, kind of spoken. There's some songs that she sings, but a lot of it's spoken. Like, her vocals are always so cool, always so collected, always so confident.
Yes.
They were also in Our Band Could Be Your Life. There'd be kind of obsessions, kind of, and there'd be an album that's sort of like within that current obsession. The period where they were like the Manson family and the Manson killings. I mean, Kim grew up in California, in the Los Angeles area. She knew people that, given a ride to a Manson member.
Oh, wow.
She lived out there when all the murders happened. It was something that
I read her biography. I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's early on. No, so I was reading it in preparation.
Yeah.
Thurston is writing something. I'm planning to read it.
Okay.
They actually had it at the bookstore, like a signed copy. I was like considering it, but it's like,
I know.
That affects re-listening to it is at the end of their marriage and like the cheating and sort of recontextualizing of their relationship. And because they were together for 30 years.
Yes.
And the band had been together for all those years. Her memoir begins with the sort of like end of the band.
And now it's a house divided, a nation, a daydream nation.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about this band. I don't have a lot to say about one, as you know.
Yeah, but I do want to keep talking about it.
To hear what you have to say, because Elena, as I've said, is like, Pavement's the best band.
Yeah, so spoil it, because for one is Slanted and Enchanted. We'll continue our discussion of Daydream Nation on our next episode, and I'll talk about songs Slanted and Enchanted. You can reach us at Yearendlesspodcast at gmail.com. All music is courtesy of Shane Parrish. Until next time, for my co-host Courtney, I'm William, signing off from the Tar Heel State.